Now, the water issue transcends various aspects of everyday life, including sporting activities. Water quality has been a talking point in the Dusi Canoe Marathon in recent years, with the race not spared the socio-economic battle that South Africans face on a daily basis. Now, early on this year, the Dusi Organising Committee were confronted with this problem at different entry points along the Umsunduzi River. E. coli levels were far higher than what is deemed safe for recreational purposes. But for more on this, we're now joined by eNCA's Siphokazi Malinga this morning. Siphokazi, thank you so much and good morning to you. And I think this is bringing a different side of this water crisis. Since the morning, we've been talking about consuming contaminated water. We've seen with Hammanskraal 33 lives lost due to the cholera outbreak, but also sports hasn't been spared.
A very good morning. Yes, 100%. We've had water quality issues here at the in Durban, rather, where we've seen high water E. coli, high levels of E. coli in the water, where it has affected athletes as well. We've seen numbers declining when it comes to sporting events as well. So not sure if it's because of the E. coli in the water, but we have seen numbers declining. We have seen events being moved from one point to another. So it really has affected a lot of sporting codes and athletes as well. I am going to quickly speak to Bradley Glasspool, who is a member of the Dusi committee, who's just going to shed a little bit more light. And I'm going to ask him how has it affected the athletes? Is it the numbers declining because of the E. coli in the water? Bradley, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me this morning. We have seen high levels of E. coli in the water. It has been a concern for the Dusi. You've seen the Dusi being moved from one point to another. How has this affected the athletes? And is it the reason why numbers have declined?
Hi, good morning. Yeah, I think numbers have declined for a number of reasons. Certainly water quality is one of them, and it has been of concern for a number of years. We went back in the record books to have a look, and we were investigating moving venues as far back as 2008. This year, definitely. The race was moved from Pietermaritzburg Central start out to Bishopstow. Rather unusual. It worked successfully, and the feedback that we've got from the paddlers is it's positive. We moved into cleaner water, so they are much happier, and I think that's what we are going to have to do going forward. We are going to have to look for cleaner water to keep paddlers happy. For safety reasons. Key is it's safety and it's practical. It's not political, it's not emotional. Practical, we've got to do it, and then maybe we'll see numbers increase. But certainly the ideal is Maritzburg to Durban properly on clean water.
Should the problem persist, do you have contingency plans in place, as well as we've seen what's happening in Hammanskraal, where there is cholera outbreak? Is that also a concern for you guys?
I think water quality is always a concern. If you go onto the Dusi website, we publish the water quality results along the route. Our challenge for 2024 is where we finish the race. We've solved one of the issues in Pietermaritzburg, where we start. It worked successfully. We've received very positive feedback. The big question is, what do we do for a Durban finish? Do we put people into water that is of poor quality? And we can only monitor that in the build-up. We trust that there's a lot of money that has been pushed back into infrastructure in Durban going forward after the floods. And if they can repair a lot of those and we solve a lot of those problems, and based on fact, if we see that the water quality is bad, we have to make decisions based on the best interests of the paddler safety.
Do you think we're going to see the sports dying if this problem does continue?
I think we've seen the sports dying. It's just cold hard fact. If people haven't got clean water to paddle on, and we're not just talking about Durban, we're talking about across the country. So people are looking for new venues, and some people are just changing to other sporting codes, and that is of concern.
Thank you so much for your time. Well, that was Bradley Glasspool, who is a member of the Dusi committee, and he was just saying that it is a huge concern that the water is dirty, that there is high levels of E. coli in the water, and it's something that needs to be looked at and fixed because the sport is dying, and we are seeing a number of athletes declining and looking for other sporting codes to venture into.
And hopefully with a sense of urgency, colleague. I mean, these calls and concerns have been mounting for quite some time now. And hopefully there will be, of course, an urgent implementation plan so that sports doesn't die out due to this problem. Siphokazi Malinga, that's where we leave it. Thank you so much for this update for us in KwaZulu-Natal.